Hi, CrossFit Inconceivable. This is the WOD description for today's workout called Takeout Order. It's going to be a 16-minute AMRAP, so fairly long AMRAP today, 16-minute AMRAP of 4 different movements. We've got half around the world, 10 half around the world, and I'll kind of go over that movement here in just a moment so you can warm that up. We've got 20 overhead kettlebell swings. If you have a dumbbell, you may also do snatches, overhead dumbbell swings as well. I'm going to be using a med ball today and just kind of doing an overhead swing. We've got 10 V-ups or your choice of ab movements. We'll go over some scaling options there. And 20 bent over rows using that kettlebell or dumbbell or weights that you have, 10 per side. So let's go over these movements and get a chance to kind of warm each of these up along with me. Let's start with some half around the world. So for this one, you can either do this in a plank position on your feet and have some kind of target to your left and your right. So for example, if I'm using like say the edge of this ottoman here, I'm going to pivot on my feet and walk the hands all the way over to the left, and then I'm going to walk the hands all the way over to the right. So what we're looking for is 10 half around the world. So each time that you go halfway around, so that 180 degrees, that's 1 rep. So basically you're going to go 5 round trips for a total of 10. So if you go around, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. Okay, so it's quite a bit of shoulders here. Now you can also, if you plan to scale this up or kind of more as an RX, have your feet piped and elevated on an ottoman. And you will start with your hands on one side, and then you're going to walk and pivot all the way to the other side. And that's 1 rep. And pivoting all the way around, and that's 2. So today's got a lot of abs, just letting you know, a lot of abs, a lot of shoulder stuff today. Obviously elevating your feet is going to make it a little bit more difficult, so just kind of see where you are. You're going to get a lot out of just having your feet in a plank position too. Next we got some overhead kettlebell swings. So we've got 20 overhead kettlebell swings. I'm going to be using a med ball and doing some swings today since I don't have a dumbbell. This is a little heavy for me, so I'm going to use the med ball here. So the important thing to know is that as we're swinging, as we are extending the hips, that you're also slightly pulling your abs down and crunching your abs. So as we're swinging the bell, the shoulders aren't traveling too much behind the hips, but you're actively engaging your abs as you stand straight up in that swing. Okay, so making sure that as you're hinging your hips back, keeping that back flat, keeping the bell or the weight high between the thighs, not allowing to swing way too low. So keeping it nice and tight right between the thighs. And then we're squeezing your hips, squeeze your abs, and you're going to bring it overhead so that your ears or your arms are right in line with the ears. So sending the hips back, squeeze the butt, squeeze the abs, and then bringing that head through, almost like you're trying to go into a hollow position overhead. That's what I kind of like to think about it, is always maintaining the slight hollowness, not allowing yourself to Superman back in the kettlebell swing, but always staying slightly hollow, and that's going to help your lower back over time from getting too fatigued. So if you always find with kettlebell swings your back gets really fatigued, just think about staying a little bit more hollow and then keeping that kettlebell a little bit higher. So as you're going down to the swing, not bending the knees too much, but keeping them fairly straight, hinging, closing the car door that's open behind you with your butt, and extending overhead. So we got 20 overhead kettlebell swings. The weight should be something where you could probably get 20 unbroken, or doing it in 2 sets of 10. Okay, so again, it's a 16-minute AMRAP. It's a pretty long AMRAP. I don't expect the 20 to be completely unbroken all the way through the very end. It's a lot of shoulders today. V-ups. Okay, I am going to be scaling V-ups myself personally today, but what you're going to do if you're going to RX the V-ups today is you are laying down on the ground, shoulder blades and hands behind you, feet in front of you, and then at the same time you're going to bring your knees up and reach towards your feet, and then try to touch your hands towards the toes. Both hands, both feet at the same time. I'm going to be doing dead bugs today. Just simply because I can't do V-ups today. So for me, dead bugs, I'm going to be counting each time I extend a limb as 1 rep. So it's 10 V-ups, 10 dead bugs total, kind of 5 on each side. So I'm going to start with my hands and knees up overhead, and I'm going to extend one arm and one leg out so that's a hover, trying to keep the lower back pressed down to the ground. So that's 1, 2, 3, and taking care to pause in between each of your dead bugs if you're going to do them. So a lot of times you kind of bicycle them and rush through, but really take the time to kind of hold and pause each one for a half a second at the very end point, and then return it kind of like very methodically, very mechanically. That way you're really getting a lot out of your ab work for doing that. It's not just kind of wishy-washy bicycling around, but you're pulling your belly button down towards the floor, keeping that lower back pressed in, so you're really getting the most engagement out of your inner abs to hold yourself down there. So those are different scaling options. You may also do sit-ups as well. So if you feel comfortable just doing sit-ups instead of V-ups, we're just looking for some kind of abdominal movement here to work. Okay. Lastly, we've got bent over rows. So you're taking that same kettlebell or that same weight. I'm going to be using my dumbbell here. And your bent over row, this is 10 per side, 20 total. So you want to start, I usually start by deadlifting the weight first, just to kind of set my back in place. And then I send the hips back, keeping it flat. Arm is going straight down just like a rope, right to the side. I'm going to go actually right between the legs because I have one dumbbell, and sometimes it kind of runs into my leg here if it's right in front. So I'm going to go right between the legs. I'm going to send the elbow back, squeeze, and then back down. Now what you can also do is kind of a lunging and kneeling style, where you have one leg forward lunging and you can rest that arm, that forearm on top of that leg if it works for you better, and then do your bent over row as such, starting out on the floor, keeping that back flat, shoulders slightly over the hips, and then pulling it back this way. Bringing that arm down just to a hover, so that's another way to do it. If you have your bench or ottoman, you can also place a hand there, and then your free arm, the one that's not the one obviously on the bench. If you're going to be in a lunge here, I have my leg on the side that I'm not working forward, the other leg back, and then you can also support yourself here doing the bent over row. So those are the options for the bent over row today. We're just looking for some kind of pulling motion that you can use. If you have, say, just like one big med ball or something that you're using, so for example, if you don't have a dumbbell or kettlebell, let's say you're using a slam ball or a wall ball or something else today, you may also just do a 2-arm bent over row for that, just to work on engaging, squeezing your shoulder blades back, retracting your shoulders, and getting 20 total. So again, it's 10 per side for a total of 20 of a pulling motion. So that's the movements for today, and we'll see you in the next video where we're going to go over this 16-minute workout. Here we go.